Good day, grade 8 learners! In today's video, we are going to learn factoring quadratic trinomial where a is equal to 1. Here's what you need. Something to write on, a notebook or a paper, and something to write with, a pen or a pencil. To maximize your learning, you could pause and replay this video as needed. Now brace yourself as another dose of mathematical prowess is coming your way. DepEd Cebu City, Mathematics 8, Quarter 1, Module 1, Factoring. Lesson 5, Factoring quadratic trinomial where a is equal to 1. Are you ready? Here we go. Here's what you need to know. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to identify a quadratic trinomial with leading term equal to 1 and factor the quadratic trinomial completely. And let's go! What's in? Now let us review the laws of multiplying and adding integers. Now let's move on to laws of multiplying integers. Now there are two laws of multiplying integers. Number 1, multiplying like signs. And number 2, multiplying unlike signs. Alright, let's get started. In multiplying like signs, for example, both positive or both negative, the product will always be, that's right, it will always be positive. So, let us have example number 1. 3 times 5. What are the signs of 3 and 5? That is right, they are both positive. Positive 3 and positive 5. And therefore, their product will also be a positive number. Positive 15. Again, 3 times 5 is equal to 15. Positive 3 times positive 5 is equal to positive 15. Now, what about if they are both negative? For example, negative 3 and negative 5. They are both negatives. So, the answer will also be a positive product. Very good. Negative 3 times negative 5 is equal to positive 15. Again, what is the product of numbers that have like signs? Two numbers with like signs when multiplied together will get you a positive answer or a positive product. Yay! Good job! Let's move on to the second law. Now this time, what are you going to do if your numbers have unlike signs? For example, negative 3 and 5. Negative 3 and 5. The sign of the first integer is, that is right, it is negative. The sign of the second integer is correct. It is positive. They have unlike signs, and their product will also have a negative sign. Very good. So negative 3 times 5 is equal to, you got it, it's negative 15. Now let's move on to the second set of integers. This time, it is the second term that is negative. Again, 3 times negative 5 is equal to negative 15. Now, what have you noticed? In our first example, it was the first integer. In our second example, it was the second integer. That is right. It doesn't matter which is a negative or where is the negative number. Is it in the first or is it in the second? The product will always be a negative. So again, two numbers with unlike signs multiplied together, the product is always, yay, good job, it's always a negative. Now, let's move on to the laws of adding integers. Same as with multiplying integers, there are also two laws for adding integers. The first is when you add like signs, numbers with like signs, and the second is when you add numbers with unlike signs. Okay, so let's get started. Adding numbers with like signs. For example, we have 3 plus 5. What are the signs of our integers? You are right, they are both positive. And so, we just add them together. 3 plus 5 is equal to? Yes, it is equal to 8. And then we keep the sign. What is the common sign? Positive 3, positive 5. The common sign is? There you go. It is positive. Again, positive 3 plus positive 5. They are both positives. That is right. You are adding numbers with like signs. And so, adding numbers with like signs will give you? Good job! Will give you the number that carries their common sign. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. Positive 3 plus positive 5 is equal to 8. Now in this example, we have numbers that are negatives. Negative 3 plus negative 5. What is their common sign? That is right. They are both negative. And so, since they are both negative, what are we going to do? Correct. We are just going to add them immediately. So, 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. Keep in mind, we are adding their absolute values. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. And what sign do we keep? Good job! It is negative because negative 3 and negative 5 are both negative. And so, their sum will also be a negative number. So, negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. Now, let's move on to adding unlike signs. Here, we have to subtract the absolute values of your addends and keep the sign of the bigger absolute value. Now let us try that. Okay, we have negative 3 plus 5. So, our negative 3 is a negative number. Our 5 is a positive number. And we are adding this time numbers with unlike signs. That is right. So what are we going to do? Good job! We are going to subtract their absolute values. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. And then, we are going to keep the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. So which one is bigger? Is it 3 or 5? You got it! It's 5. And the sign of 5 is positive. And so, our sum is positive. Let's do it one more time. -3 and 5. We are adding numbers with unlike signs. So, we are going to subtract their absolute values. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. And then, we keep the sign of the bigger absolute value. And 5 has the bigger absolute value. It is a positive, so the sum is also a positive. Now this time, it is -5 that has the bigger absolute value. 5 has a bigger absolute value than 3. So, let's go and add them. 3 plus -5. Again, what are we going to do if they have unlike signs? Wow, you're great! We have to subtract them. 5 minus 3 is 2. Now this time, what is the sign of the bigger absolute value? That is right, it is negative. 5 is bigger than 3. And so, our sum will carry the sign of 5, which is, is negative. So, 3 plus -5 is equal to -2. You got it. That is so easy peasy. Always remember that because we are going to use that in our lesson for today. Now, what's new? We have here an expression. X squared minus 3x plus 1. Which, from the expression at the right, is the first term, the second term, and the last term. Let's identify. Our first term is x squared. Our second term is -3x. Our third term is 1. Good job. Again, what's the first term? That is right. What is the second term? Perfect. And what's the third term? Excellent. So, what do we call this kind of polynomial? Stay connected to learn more. What is it? X squared minus 3x plus 1 is an expression called quadratic trinomial. When we say quadratic, it means that the highest degree in the polynomial is 2. Where do we find that? You find the highest exponent. And in this expression, the highest exponent is 2. So it is quadratic. And when we say trinomial, tri means 3. We have a polynomial with 3 terms. 1, 2, 3. A quadratic trinomial is an expression in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where b and c are constants, meaning they are numbers, and a is not equal to 0. So in this example, our b is equal to -3 and our c is equal to 1. They are both numbers, they are both constants. And our a is equal to 1. It is not equal to 0. Now, let us learn how to factor trinomial in general form where a is equal to 1. Here are the steps. Step 1. Find the factor of the first term. Step 2. List all the pairs of numbers with a product equal to the last term and find the sum of each pair. Step 3. Choose the pair that adds up to the middle coefficient of the given expression. And lastly, write the factors. Let's have our first example. X squared plus 7x plus 12. Step number 1. Factor the first term. Our first term is x squared. And so, we find the factors or the prime factors of x squared. It's x times x. Step 2. List all the pairs of numbers with a product equal to the last term. So, we have the product of 12, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 4 times 3. And then, find the sum of each pair. Now, let's find their sums. 1 plus 12 is equal to 13. 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. Now, step number 3. Choose the pair that adds up to the middle coefficient of the given expression. And the middle coefficient is, that is right, it is 7. So we have here 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. And lastly, we write the factors like so. We have x and 4, we are going to pair them. X and 3, we are also going to pair them. So x plus 4, we have here the quantity of x plus 4. X plus 3, we have here the quantity of x plus 3. And therefore, x squared plus 7x plus 12 is equal to the quantity of x plus 4 times the quantity of x plus 3. There you have it! Let's have another example. X squared minus 7x plus 12. Step 1. Find the factors of the first term. We have x squared and the prime factors are x times x. Step 2. List all the pairs of numbers with a product equal to the last term and find the sum of each pair. So we have negative 1 times negative 12 is 12. Negative 2 times negative 6 is 12. Negative 4 and negative 3 is 12. Now, question, why did we purposely use negative numbers? And both of them are negative numbers. It's because our middle coefficient is negative and our last term is a positive. So in order to get a positive from negatives, they must be both negatives. Remember, multiplying numbers with like signs will give you a positive. So both negatives will give you a positive, but when you add them, it will be a negative. So which pairs here will add you or will give you a sum of negative 7? That is right. It is negative 4 plus negative 3 is equal to 7. And that is our step number 3. Lastly, we write the factors like so. So x minus 4 because it's a negative, and x minus 3. Again, therefore, x squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to the quantity of x minus 4 times the quantity of x minus 3. Kudos to everyone! That's so easy. Now what's more? This time, it's your turn. We have activity 1.5 and there are 2 sets of activities. Set number 1, fill in the box with the correct signs and apply your knowledge in factoring general trinomials where a is equal to 1. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. So, in this activity, you will get another sheet of paper. Remember what you should have? Your pen and paper? Okay, so number 1, x squared minus 7x plus 12 is equal to? You provide the signs for the factors. Number 2, x squared minus 6x minus 7. Provide the signs for the factors. X squared plus 2x minus 35. Provide the signs for the factors. X squared minus 13x minus 48. Provide the signs for the factors. X squared plus 8x minus 9. Provide the signs for the factors. And then we have activity. Set number 2. Factor the trinomial. So, I know that you can do it. You can replay and pause this video so that you will be able to answer your test number 2. And don't forget, please submit your work on time. Now here is what you need to remember. A quadratic trinomial is an expression in the form of a x squared plus bx plus c, where our b and c are constants and our a is not equal to 0. In this example, our a is equal to 1 and it consists of 3 terms. Now to factor quadratic trinomial where a is equal to 1, get the factor of the last term and the sum should be the middle term. Now here is what we need to remember. A quadratic trinomial is an expression in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where b and c are constants and a is not equal to 0. In this example, a is equal to 1 and it consists of 3 terms. To factor quadratic trinomial where a is equal to 1, like this example, get the factor of the last term and the sum of these factors should be the middle term coefficient. And there you have it. Kudos to everyone! We have finished lesson 5. Now again, I want to leave you this message. In times of profound change, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Once again, this is your teacher, Ms. Mary Kate. Change is inevitable. We have to embrace and learn to succeed beyond difficulties. So, keep on learning and have a bountiful day.